to help. Oh, sorry about that, Thomas. I should have reminded you.
I just reminded myself, it popped in my head.
So we do have some, alternatives, but if anybody has any questions or additions, or if anything we missed, or, ideas in supplementing or adding, or, bringing in other donations, please go ahead and share those.
This is Father Maceo.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Father, go ahead.
Just to clarify, so I had suggested about a $700, $800 budget from our meeting with promotions, and Shirley can confirm it may even be a little less than that. And then it was suggested that we go much higher than that just because of what traditional media costs, et cetera. So it was proposed that we might need 3,000. That just seems really high. I think, definitely under 1,000, I would hope we can, with the advent of technology and social media, a lot of our stuff is pretty inexpensive to get out there and promote. So I just want to put that out there. I don't think we're going to need 3,000 for marketing. I can't see the budget in front of me, but I've already did some printing. I was able to get 5,000 postcards for $160 already printed. So, because we did it online. So $150 for 5,000 postcards we already have printed. So I think it's hard to believe that we're going to need, that much money for marketing. I think there's some creative things we can do to keep our expenses down.
Thank you, Father Maceo. I really appreciate that you took that on, and that, you got those out there already. That does reduce a lot of the cost for printing. So definitely, I would agree with, with donations like that one that you just gave, and some of the other ones that we could bring that cost a lot, down, more down than.
Is the budget anywhere that everybody that's been working on this can look at it? Or should I send it out to the email list for this meeting so that everybody has a copy?
Yeah, I think it'd probably be a good idea to send it in. I don't think that the full group is here yet. And so they might, so other people might have some input. So if you want to go ahead and send that out, that's probably a good idea,
I don't think I have a copy of it. Can you send it to me?
I just put it in the chat. Do you?
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. If you don't mind, just making note that when you do send it out, that you note that it's a wish list. So if anybody wants to add, or, or has creative ideas to decrease the cost, so please, go ahead and share those ideas.
Alma, Father Maceo again. I really need to ask a question. I realize it's somewhat delicate, et cetera, but we really need to know as a committee, do we have that $10,000 locked in 100%? And if not, what still needs to happen to make this happen, so we can because, that's 50% of the budget. We need to make some decisions. I think we need to find out what's the definitive response to that, and how do we move forward with it?
I think we are all in agreement. I did have a conversation with Kent after our meeting on Tuesday, and I think we're all in agreement in regards to, our committees, that we do want it to be interactive focused, that we do want the open streets component, and, really that's just the main thing, that, and that we do want to have incentives, that promote the interactive, booths. And that said, we will go ahead and receive the $10,000. So that is locked in. The only other option that Kent presented was that if we wanted 7,000 this year and 3,000 next year, but I feel like, at this point we need the full amount, unless anybody has any objections. I just got a request from Lupe to resend the budget, so I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay.
I just wanted to add that before the pandemic, we were working with a group, and Ken was part of that, to have open streets and the Fiestas Patrias together. And so that money, I believe, is probably the same one. It's just going to be rolled over. So yeah, the money's there. So that should not be a problem, I'm thinking.
No, it is a hard commitment, Father Maceo. So you don't have it, you don't have to worry about that. The other The only other funding that we, we really need to strive for that we don't know yet is the additional 12,000 that, we created a wish list for, but hopefully, we can reduce some of those costs with everybody taking a look at the budget or, and finding creative ways to either reduce or find additional sponsorships as we go out and look for sponsorships and donations. Lupe,
As a-
I went ahead and put the link to the budget again in the chat room. I saw that Lupe was not able to see it, so I just want to make sure that he got a copy of it and that anybody else who wanted a copy of it can see the link.
I did receive it. Thank you very much. I was reviewing it right now. I had offered and I'm still offering the $750. And if I could just get, I'm not sure who's collecting the money. If somebody sends me their bank account, their address, whatever, we will send them a check for the $750.
We do have Los Amigos de Guadalupe who's agreed to be the fiscal sponsor. So Thomas, we probably would want to share your information.
Send me an email, Tom, please.
Will do.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Hi, Alma. Mireya here. I had a quick question. I was looking at the budget and then I was looking at the miscellaneous and it said radios. And I was just wondering if you could share a little bit more about what those are.
Yeah, there's one in there.
I believe that's walkie-talkie radios. And I'm not 100% sure. I put an email to Chief Cash to just confirm that that's what it was, because that was put in the budget prior to me reviewing it. So I have a question about that as well, but I'm pretty sure that they're the walkie-talkie radios.
And I'm sorry I got here late, but I had seen what the amount was there right now for the city. I know that the city situation is not the best or not where it would like to be ideally. However, I know that the mayor was at another Zoom meeting with us yesterday, and it was about using the senior center for the GBA, the Guadalupe Business Association. He was very pro that if this GBA is bringing in revenue, assisting the business owners and partnering up with the city to promote it, that for a smaller, it is a small event, but that he was very supportive that any fees for us using the senior center should be waived. I guess all I'm asking is, has anybody approached the city or the mayor more specifically, if he'd be willing to stick his foot and see if the city would cut that number down in any capacity or all of it?
If I remember correctly, Liliana had asked Todd to put some items on the agenda for the next city council meeting so that they perhaps could waive some of the fees. So that is being worked on by Lily at this point.
Okay.
Real good.
So Lupe, I'm sorry, can I just confirm would it be the donation, is it going to be directly from you, or I just want to make sure I know who the donation is from?
It would be from Lupe's company, my dad, the family business.
What the title? What would be the?
Lupe's company.
Okay. Got it. All right, great, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on from the budget, but if Thomas, if you wouldn't mind sharing that with the group in case there's any other, questions or thoughts or ideas in regards to costs or, funding, donations, that we receive those. Let's see, the other thing that I wanted to share was the spreadsheet that we came up with in regards to what we have going on with the event and, as far as ideas. Let's see, let me pull that up. If you just give me a second, I'm going to go ahead and share it in the chat room. Okay, so what you'll see in the last document that I'm sending is our assigned items of of action. And, you know, we have the video, you know, the concept video of the open street, the website listed on there, the vendor application, which is in draft form. It still has not been approved, but I wondered maybe if Thomas, you can give an update on, you know, any thoughts you had on the application? Because I know that it had to go, you know, through your group.
I'm sorry, Alma, which application?
The vendor application and cover sheet, because we're going to be asking, Lily, I'm sorry, Liliana had mentioned that she shared the vendor application with you for approval.
I did not know that.
But anyway, it's listed there as in draft form, and hopefully we can get that finalized in the next few days so that we can start sending that out. We have on the spreadsheet that I just shared, there's a link to the application and the cover sheet. But please let me know if there's any problems in accessing that.
So Alma, just to clarify,
Yes.
so I'm not sure that Los Amigos needs to be on the vendor app as much as they need to be as fiscal sponsors for sponsorship letters. So I'm not sure why Tom would have to approve the vendor app. I did receive it. There was a lot of language on there. It's kind of wordy. I'm always, you know, how do we simplify the vendor app? And I think we're still working on specifics. I don't know if we can actually get the vendor app out there if we don't know the time or, you know, the location where they're going to be or whatever, some of the more details on the actual event. But I know I talked to Liliana about automizing it, you know, and getting it on the website. That shouldn't be a problem. But anyway, I just want a little clarification. I don't know, are you talking about the vendor app or the actual sponsorship letter?
Right now I'm talking about the vendor application, but the sponsorship letter, yeah, we are still working on the sponsorship. That one hasn't been finalized yet.
Okay.
But again, that one also needs to be completed within the next week too. Oopsies, we don't have a link there. But you're right. I unless anybody has any reasons, I can't think of why. Well, the only thing I can think of, Father Maceo, is just because as we're using Los Amigos de Guadalupe, they are going to be receiving the funding, so they should have some kind of, you know, information there about Los Amigos de Guadalupe. You know, we should be consistent in our, you know, messaging about, you know, who's a fiscal sponsor or fiscal agent.
Right.
So that's
I'm assuming, is it because it has Los Amigos is who the check is written out to for the vendors?
I believe so, yes.
That would kind of make sense then.
Mhm.
And also the
Okay.
insurance will be under Los Amigos. So I think when we do event, we have to put the Lions logo because if there was something to happen, whose event is it? And it would be Los Amigos.
Yeah, I'm not so sure Los Amigos is going to be, so we're still up in the air on the liability side of this. Just because I don't think it's really clear at this point who's going to be paying for that liability. So that's still up in the air, but you know, I think the liability coverage is kind of secondary because I'm not sure it's necessary that a quote unquote fiscal agent is necessarily the overall entity that's running the program, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
This is kind of a shared experience where we're playing one role. Now, if it's necessary for somebody to be if it's necessary for Los Amigos to actually get that insurance and all of the insurance that we quoted says it has to go through Los Amigos, then I'm fine with that.
Sounds good. So yeah, going back to the assigned, you know, action items, you know, we have a, you know, list of the booths that are being considered, you know, in education, retail, food vendors, health fair, interactive activities. And, you know, we have a link to the budget there and, you know, who's going to be responsible for, you know, what. And then maps, Garrett and Jesse are going to be responsible for the map design and the printing in regards to the logistics of the event. And then, you know, some of the events that are being considered are 5K, you know, run prior to the event, and a bike along the levee, you know, from Santa Maria to Guadalupe, you know, come to the festival bike ride event as well, you know, is being considered with the approval, of course, of the Public Works Department. We are also working towards, let's see, we were, we wanted to finalize the time. You know, we were discussing different times in regards to the event. So we wanted to finalize a time, and we're, you know, looking at 10 o'clock for the 5K. The, you know, the food, the parade and everything will start at noon. And we'll be finishing up by, Christina, was it 5 or 6? Can you confirm that? Christina?
Yeah, I have my sheets with me. I wasn't sure if I had 5 or 6 either.
Okay, so we could go from 12 to, we can propose 12 to 5 and then clean up thereafter.
So it was a 5K run at 10 a.m.
Yes,
What was after that?
the parade at noon and festivities until 5. And inclusive of the open streets portion. And you know, the
So
bike.
yeah, go ahead. Just for
Proposed-
clarity, that's a completely different time frame for what we were talking at the very beginning.
I think we were talking about a much larger time frame, longer time frame, right? But I think.
No.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, originally we had talked about starting at 2 o'clock after church,
Mhm.
going into the evening. This is all finishing at 5 o'clock, right?
Mhm. Yeah, this so would be finishing at 5 o'clock. And I think it had to do with the times that were given by, you know, the city in regards to the event. And so, you know, just I think trying to finalize a time that, you know, works for everyone.
Yeah, I'm only bringing it up because it's quite different from before. So I do think it needs a conversation about it, just to see that everybody's on that same page as the festival committee, right?
Yeah. The other thought that we had within the committee was that we were talking about, you know, going into too late in the evening would bring in, you know, cleanup. I mean, the cost of lighting during cleanup. And we didn't want to have to pay for lighting in addition to, you know, being a long day, and you know, organizations paying for staff too long and having too long of a day, because it, you know, what ends up happening historically is that people start to leave the festival early, you know, where the booths start to leave, you know, before the end of the day. And, you know, then we have, you know, traffic trying to move and you know, booths leaving, and, you know, just like sort of a skeleton group of events towards the end of the day. So that's why we were considering closing up a little bit earlier. But
How does can we ask how people feel about that?
Well, let me tell you, the window that we put in the parade that we're submitting with the permit is from 9 in the morning to 9 in the evening. That gives us a big enough window to do what we need to do. Now, I think starting the 5K run at 10 o'clock would be perfect, because we can close the streets at 9:30 thereabouts, so that gives people enough time to line up for the run for the 5K. The other thing to consider in the evening, what happens in Guadalupe is the wind comes up about 4:30 or so, and people start leaving the events. I mean, this is by previous experience in the years that we've done this. So 5 o'clock, I think, would be an ideal time to start ending up the festivity. So that's my input in terms of, so the window that we have for the parade is 9 to 9. So the closure of the streets.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
would ask
what flexibility we have at that 5 p.m. ending time. I can definitely see a lot of events wrapping up at 5 and a lot of that cleaning up taking place. But I know that Open Streets would love an opportunity to kind of have that flexibility of having streets still be accessible, people still being able to partake in some of these activities that they can do in public. What flexibility, Alma, do you see there?
Well, I think the flexibility is what Jose mentioned, is that the streets will still be closed till 9 o'clock, right, Jose? So,
That
you
is
know,
correct. That
but
is
if-
correct.
yeah, but if people are wrapping up, obviously there won't be as many things going on, but if people, but the streets will still be closed. And, we can talk about it more in the festival committee, but it's what happened the last time was that people kept writing until the streets were opened again. And even if there was no, booths or anything, people just kept writing on the streets, and, they were really enjoying just having the open space to, run or play or whatever, until actually the police came and opened the streets up and cleared everything up. So I think I would assume that would be the same flexibility that we have this time around, unless anyone has, any other thoughts.
Father
Good.
Maceo?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that I would agree. I think the time that you're proposing, Alma, actually it is shorter than what we discussed before, but I think it's very prudent. I think it's good to shut down at 5. We can probably save some expenses also with PD. It'll probably lower down our costs about $1,500 as well, because they're charging us by the hour, and so many, police officers per hour and cleanup and all that. And it's just much safer. And I think that people that really do want to be in the parade, those who are going to church, et cetera, I think they'll sort of, get to mass earlier and show up at the parade. So I actually think that's prudent. I think it's safe, and that gives us plenty of time to have a solid day of fun,
So Tom and everybody, so a couple of questions, I guess. Number one, I think as a committee, we need to put rules that people that are vendors have a booth should not be allowed to leave because of the people in the streets until it's over. They could shut down if they want to shut down earlier, but trucks shouldn't be allowed to leave with trailers until everybody is shut down and they can leave safely. Number two, in other events, just as far as the insurance, being it's a city property, being Caltrans belongs to the state, the city's insurance has covered those events in the past. So I would suggest that we reach out to the city administrator and see if that's a minimum, I think, responsibility. You would still have people in the parking lot, whether there's an event or not. And you're still gonna have people on the sidewalks, and the state is giving you a permit for the road. So insurance is covered. If something happens, everybody's gonna get sued no matter what anyway.
I'll be happy to talk to Todd about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that really quickly, Tom, and we can talk more in depth later, but we did wonder if the city or the event would need extra insurance, which we are planning to have, but if you had any specifics on if you required a specific insurance for the EV electric vehicle showcase.
No, I don't think so. But usually what happens is they're more interested in things like bouncy houses that cause injuries than what the vendors are bringing. So no, I don't think it would make that much difference at all to a liability insurance, Alan.
Okay, no worries. And we'll give more details about that insurance
Sure.
and that probably next week.
Mm-hmm.
This is Jose again. Part of the application to close down the street requires a certificate of liability issued to Caltrans. That's part of the package. So that will have to be decided upon as to who's going to issue that certificate of liability. So that's part of the package. That's what they require.
That's why once you have that insurance coverage and you know how much it's going to be and you get it, getting those certificate of insurances are pretty standard.
Thomas, that's something that you'll be following up with, right? Or was that somebody else?
Yeah, I will start by checking with the city because I think the city could probably get the best, probably will be able to get the best rate on this. So I think we'll start with the city to see if we can get them to do the liability insurance. Or at least I'll talk to Todd about it. If that doesn't work, then, I think probably I'll have a word with Jose about his insurance company that's done it in the past.
Mhm. Okay.
And, if that insurance company that Jose has used and in the past, if they want Los Amigos to be the named insurance and for us to pay it, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure we can work something out.
Yeah. I just think it's probably better all round cost wise for the city to pick it up.
Okay. So the only other thing that I wanted to share is Father Maceo, I'm going to keep updating this spreadsheet with the assigned actions and putting links to any forms and stuff that we have so that you can also include them in the website, including the sponsorship and vendor applications as well. So, that's where I'll note things when we have updates, and of course, give you a heads up if, when we do have those updates. And that's all I have. Any questions?
No, thank you, Alma. This is Father Maceo. I do need to excuse myself. I went ahead and provided some information via chat to Tom. Okay, and I'll see you guys later.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Father Maceo.
Right.
And I'm going to be, unless anybody has any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and also
Thank you,
check
Alma.
next meeting. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Alma. Let me see if I can pull up Father Mateo's. Here it is. So this is Father Mateo's graphics that have been done. This is the flyer. I think that's the flyer, and if I go backwards. These are images that we can post on our Facebook pages or use for, like, I'll do Facebook pages for the event itself with the times and everything, and that can be the header that I would use. So these are more for social media posts. Same with this one, it's just another way of doing social media posts. This is the full flyer. So I never really understood why the black and white one, but this may be for the newspapers if we were to put an ad in the paper.
And are we expecting more flyers with specific events closer to that date?
I would hope so. Yeah, I think these are just the idea of these is to get them out and get them out quickly now to let people know that there's something going to happen, a kind of save the date. So I think the idea is that the website itself will have more and more information on the website as we slowly get things done. So I think it's pushing people to the website is the goal, because there where all of the forms will be, sponsorship forms, vendor forms, everything will be over to there, and then from there we can keep it updated. But I would hope we'll have some more information, but pushing people to the website is the way to go.
Got it. And I did want to just give everyone or give my coworker a shout out. Iris Kelly, she works also with CEC on the logistics and a pro in planning these events. And I just wanted to point out that she's here to listen. And also, it sounds like there's a spelling error.
Just a spelling error on the graphics. But hi, everybody. Iris Kelly with CEC, and I work with the San Robert Earth Day Festival. So happy to be here, part of this event. CEC is looking forward to being one of the vendors, and I'm, here to help win it any way that I can. I'll probably end up joining Alma in the festival committee, since that's sort of where I've worked in the past. So otherwise, happy to meet y'all.
Which one has the R missing?
The last two that you showed, it looks like an anniversary. I was just glancing, but.
Okay, I'll have a look at them and make sure. Okay, so we needed to get to the agenda. Obviously, the lead agency for the permit still needs to be discussed, but Jose, do we know how we're going to do the lead agency for the permit? Who's going to be named?
Well, that is the that is a question. I have the application.
What's your thoughts?
Well, I originally had put the city as the main entity applying for the closure of the streets. But I just want to make sure before we continue with finalizing the application that we that is correct. So I was hoping that at this meeting we could determine if in fact the city's going to be doing it. Otherwise, we're going to have to put either Los Amigos de Guadalupe or the Comité or
Yeah.
you know.
It sounds like another question for Todd.
Yeah, well, when I met with him last week, I mean, that was a question, and I mean, I didn't get any A or nay or anything, so I figured we'd discuss it at this meeting. But if there's no representation from the city right now, I don't know if we can go forward, but we need to get this application in as soon as possible.
Yeah. So I will get with the city on both the permit and the liability and at least get a yes or no, so we can then move. We either are then needing to move to secondary, or it's a yes and we don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you that don't know, the city did unanimously approve a resolution and a letter that would accompany the application. So that has been done, and we're moving forward to that. But I just wanted to make sure that that the city's okay with us putting them down as the main sponsor of the parade. So that's what we need to do next. Thank you, Tom.
Okay. Sure. Charlie, are you here still?
Yeah, I
you
had
wanna
to
give
take
us
care
an
of some
update
business,
on
so
this?
I kind of attended the meeting late here.
Yeah.
So as far as the stage is concerned, I was looking for some information from Jose that I didn't get. So Jose, I went ahead and called the city with respect to information on getting that portable stage, and I was told that the city would be reinstating their concerts in the park that are held every Sunday. So the large portable stage, according to the contact, is committed for those particular events on Sunday. They indicated that they had a smaller mini stage. The person that I talked to didn't give me any dimensions as to how big this other particular smaller stage would be. The only thing they could offer was that we submit an application requesting the stages that we were calling about, and then they would take the application and move forward with a decision. I took that application and I went ahead and emailed a copy of that to Liliana, along with an email explaining what I'm telling everybody right now. The other issue that she had asked me about was the cost for the gazebo. The gazebo itself is maintained by the city based upon a $50 per month lease that the city has with the family, Masatani family, who actually own the property that the gazebo sits on. So the use of the gazebo is not going to be an issue. That would be part of the application that would be submitted by, obviously, the entity that's going to be the main sponsor for the whole event. So
So Charlie, if the city was to do to be listed on the permit with Caltrans and also they're listed for liability insurance, who would fill out that application then? Does it matter?
It does matter because somebody has to be responsible as the lead entity, as you referred to it here, the lead agency. At this point, I'm not at liberty to tell you one way or another whether the city wants to move forward with that. I know that there, as Lupe had mentioned earlier as I was listening, that there are some issues with regards to budgeting that the city is having to deal with. So that's one of the possibly reasons that you haven't seen a lot of participation from the city along that line. Myself, nor has Liliana actually talked about how the city could help along that line. I know that the committees now have been hit with information from the police department and eventually something from the public works as to the costs that the lead agency would have to bear with respect to having support from the city along the lines of police and or public works. So there's some issues here that need to be resolved. All of these applications or requests that eventually would have to be submitted would go to the city council for consideration. And at this point, I'm not sure exactly how they would resolve those issues.
Okie doke.
Let me respond. Let me respond to this.
Sure.
I had sent the contact person for the stage to Todd and asked him to forward it to you, and you did not get it.
No.
The person you talked to in Santa Maria Rickson, was it Maria Olagan?
No, I called the Recreation and Parks, and I talked to one of their upfront clerks, basically, and he was familiar with the stage that I was referring to. Wasn't familiar with the other option that we possibly had. The only thing that he could say in the position of representing the city, the Recreation Parks, was to submit to me this application and let me know that, as I mentioned earlier, that they're going to be reinstituting their concerts in their park. So in all probability, if it's on a Sunday, that stage that we're probably looking at is going to be used by their Recreation and Parks program. The final decision on whether that stage would be available on the date that we're looking at, that would have to come from somebody else. And he was going to have to take that question that I posed to him and move it up the chain of command. And somebody was supposed to get back to me. Nobody's gotten back to me at this point.
Charlie, this is Lupe.
Okay.
The person that's always been extremely helpful to the city is Alex Posada. He's the director of the recreation.
Right, I know who Alex is, yeah.
So that, to be honest, that is who I recommend that you talk to. He's facilitated without applications in the past. Just as a courtesy as a sister city.
Well,
I hear what you're saying, but I try to follow the process that I was given at this point. So, but that would in the end run, that's probably going to be the result of our communications with the city. Is probably talking to Alex, who then to designate to these other parties as to how it's going to actually work.
Well, as I mentioned before, this city was acquired through a grant that they wrote, and I believe that they're obligated to share it with other communities. So that's a conversation we need to have with Alex, and I will do that. I will call him. And it's probably going to be too late, but at least it's worth trying.
Yeah, and could you check with Alex as well if you're going to have that conversation about what they do have and what we need to do to get what they do have?
Yeah, and if I mean their stage has to be bigger than 24 feet across, because we don't want to end up with some flimsy thing that we can't use. Yeah. So that's what I will inquire.
Okay, appreciate it, Jose. Anything else on the city updates? Anything else we want to talk about? Otherwise, let's go to the save the date launch.
I have a question, since, like I said, I came on late. You guys have been referencing the fact that somebody is going to be operating a 5K run. Could you fill me in on that? I know for some of you it probably is a duplication, but I don't understand what's happening with a 5K run.
I think the concept was as to meet some of the criteria for open streets was to, since the streets are going to be closed at 9 and won't be and stay closed till 9, that if the parade is starting, at noon, that they would do between 10 and noon a 5K run in that closed down area.
And who's going to operate that, or who's the lead person on that?
I am not sure. The festival committee is organizing it. That
Charlie,
would
I
be
think
Liliana and Alma.
I think
Sorry,
they
go
just
ahead,
put that in
Christina.
respect of Charlie.
So, say that again, Christina.
They wrote 5K. I think they just wrote the 5K run was in relation to because he keeps mentioning some type of run with
Yeah.
Mr. Bauer.
Yeah.
Well, this is Charlie again. The
Yeah.
idea that we originally proposed was a mile run down Guadalupe Street from the end of town, in this case 11th Street, all the way back down towards the cemetery, and that was just 1 mile rather than a 5K run. So
I think the committee's just
getting that
It looks
confused.
like the committee's looking at something else and a little different. Is there a concern from the city about it being a 5K instead of a mile?
Well, according to my understanding, in talking with Mr. Bauer, a 5K run requires more setup because you have to have water breaks here and there, and there's streets that have to be closed and all kinds of other things. His thought, if we just ran it right down Main Street of Guadalupe here, Guadalupe Street, you wouldn't have all those issues. So if somebody's going to put together a 5K run, it's going to entail a lot more other work. I'm not against it. I'm just trying to understand where the committee is moving in that direction.
You might need to talk to the committee.
No one's doing no one's doing a 5K run. It was just a typo.
Okay, so Christina, you're saying the 5K is a non-entity and it's not an issue. Then we're probably talking maybe doing the mile run that we talked about originally. Is that right?
Yes, like I said, that was just because we were just typing in for you. We don't know anything that you were doing, so that just really is just for you.
Okay. Well, that was an idea that Mr. Bauer and I came up with to maybe serve the entity of Santa Barbara, see the CAG business about the open streets concept and, exercising and all that good stuff. So he thought maybe just a 1 mile run would probably be something that we can foster into the future and maybe grow it into a 5K run or a 10K or even a 24 mile marathon eventually someday. But anyway, as I said, the mile run seemed real simple to do it before the parade started. So it's just an idea that he and I had discussed, and we, other than propose it to this organizing committee, that was all that we've done. We haven't fleshed out any information with respect to that.
So you're going to propose it to the festival committee?
Well, I guess that's something that we need to do then, yes. And as I said before, I've been in some of these meetings and I haven't been actively involved by joining any of the committees because I work for the city, and my commitment to this whole festival, I haven't gotten any marching orders as to what I can and can't do. So it's been a little bit difficult to make suggestions when there's no budget and a lot of other basically issues that come about as far as city usages of facilities and whatnot. So I don't want to get ahead of myself or representing the city or committing the city into anything without the city actually saying this is what you can and can't do. I was asked to be part of the committee, to listen in and to facilitate where I can, but not necessarily commit in any way from a logistical standpoint. Hope that makes some sense to anybody.
Are we okay? Item 3 then, it sounds like. Charlie, nothing else on item 3?
No, not at this point.
let's get to item number 4, which is the save the date launch. Father
Yes,
Mateo, do you want to?
Yes, before we go there, I just want to thank Jose for making a note regarding the size of the stage. It is important. We're going to bring, God willing, we'll be prepared, some folklorical dancers, and I think Rigetti might do the same thing. So we do need space to dance. Now, if there's band equipment, et cetera, on the stage, it's going to make it very awkward and difficult. It's been like that before. So I don't know if we can have a secondary stage just for dancers that would elevate them a little bit. I noticed in the past when we've done performances there at the gazebo, a lot of people can't see because people naturally gravitate around the performance, right? So they tend, the elderly, et cetera, like that. So just keep that in mind. If you need some help coming up with another stage or whatever we can dedicate just for the dancers to elevate a little bit, let me know. You know, I think, but thank you for the size of the stage is really important.
We were also offered, I think, some small staging area with Guadalupe Cafe. I don't know the details of that. I think Jesse was the one that brought it up last time. But I think there are a couple options around town for sure.
Okay, in regards to the save the date, yeah, so Tom, if you don't mind, go ahead and sharing that link. If you can't do it, let me know. Share the link with everybody. Basically, it's a Dropbox. And what you're going to find in there is some Instagram and Facebook friendly graphics. It's already been designed specifically for Instagram. And so it's a save the date. And we also have some flyers here, some postcards and some 11 by 17 posters at my store. So you might want to jot this down, or maybe Tom can copy my address of the store and give it to you. You can come by Monday through Friday and pick up these posters. They're there right now. So I talked with the promotion committee and Shirley, et cetera. We agreed that tomorrow is going to be the sort of blackout day. We're going to go ahead and just flood your social media accounts, whether it's Instagram, whether you want to mail this flyer out to your email list, whether it's Facebook, et cetera, whether your profile. And something else that was brought up, which I thought was a good point, instead of trying to create a new landing page, so to speak, like a Facebook page, what you do is, a lot of you already have a lot of subscribers on your different accounts. You already have your name out there, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, et cetera. Just post it on there. I mean, it's a great way to get people. So it's all social media friendly. You just download that link, and especially the Instagram one, and then 11 by 17. And then secondly, you can come by and pick these up. We have 5,000 postcards here, 10 to 5, 950 Guadalupe Street. We have someone there. You can pick up those flyers and distribute. Then the last thing I want to mention in regards to promotion is, you know, as we choose artists and performers, that's important in terms of bringing families in. So I can't emphasize enough choosing local musicians and local artists, because that's going to bring a lot of people in. It's a really inexpensive way to market as well, is performers tend to bring families, et cetera. So keep that in mind as well. Thank you.
I think that's so these are them on the page. If anybody doesn't get this link or hasn't gone into the chat and got the link and wants these, you can always email me and I'll get them to you.
I just wanted to mention that if we are ever interested in making large posters as the time approaches, there's an outfit here in Santa Maria called GSR. And I'm going to show you what they can do with a small poster. I'm going to focus this camera. Hopefully you can see that, what they did for me. And it was very cost effective. Hold on. Well, I guess I can't do it. Hold on.
You know what?
See that right there? They made that poster for me, very inexpensive, and they blew it up. So we can do that if we need to. And that's okay. GSR out of Santa Maria. Thought I'd share that.
Thank you. Okay, anything else? Does anybody have any questions about the launch tomorrow? Okay. I think, if I'm correct, but everybody let me know, but I think we went over the proposed budget with Alma, and she gave a link to that budget as well. So everybody should have a copy of the budget as it stands.
Tom, on that, real quick on that budget, someone brought up
Hmm.
earlier potential cost for public works. That's not included in that PD's proposal for what it's going to cost, that 5,400. So public works might be a couple of $1,000s more. Just want to note that.
Yeah, I to be honest with you, Father Mateo, I noticed that myself. It pricked my ears up as well. So I'll ask Todd to check with Shannon on whether there is a public works cost that we have not been given yet. Anything else on
This is Charlie. Let me throw in this information. Tom, you are right. There will be public works expenses. The way it's supposed to work technically is that whenever a group wants to do something, they submit an application to the city. The city then takes a look at it and makes sure it meets all the criteria. Then if it consists of using city facilities, then it's approved. And then it goes to the different entities, in this case, the police department and public works, for their input as to what the fees would be. And then that's normally how the application process works. What we're doing right now is we're kind of putting together a budget without that information from, in this case, we've gotten something from the PD because they were asked by Todd to come up with some figures. Shannon hasn't been involved with that because she's looking for an application so that she can evaluate what it's going to cost her department to fulfill the desire of the applicant. So we're kind of getting the cart before the horse in this particular instance. That's why we're kind of a little bit confused as to the expenses that the city might be asking for of the committee.
Okay. I'll talk to Todd and see if we can get some information on that. Since we're still not sure whether we're still unclear, it would seem to me, on who's on first and who's on second. So it might make sense to get that sorted first.
It seems to me that we need a little bit more representation from the city.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
let's
agree.
face it, this is a city sponsored event, and we need some more representation. Also, I'm hearing about the Guadalupe Business Association. I know. Was it Garrett that was here the first time? But I haven't seen anybody represent the business association again. And they're gonna be participating. They need to be in on this meeting also. Just my 2 cents worth.
I know Los Amigos de Guadalupe is a member of the Guadalupe Business Association, but you're right, there isn't a representation here. Lupe is also a member of the Guadalupe Business Association, but I don't think he's sitting here for that purpose either. So I think Garrett did come first, but you're right, nobody's been there since.
But if
So
there is a message,
if
I was just gonna say, if there's a message to relay to Garrett, I'd be happy to relay. I'm here in my own capacity, just because I'm interested in that care and I want to give some input if I can. But yeah, I have not made all the meetings myself either. So, but either way, I can relay any messages as well.
It wouldn't be a bad idea, Lupe, if somebody from the association was here at the meetings weekly, if it's possible. I know it's very skeleton right now.
I will talk to Garrett, and if not, I will see if the represent. We'll see from there.
Thank you. Okay, is there Jose, Shirley? Is there anything else on your committees that needs to be shared at this point, or have we gone through everything?
I think on my behalf, I think we've covered everything. We just need to know who's going to be the one to put on the application, and also the insurance needs the liability insurance needs to be cleared up. So as soon as you find out something, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Certainly. Is there anything else from anybody else? Questions, concerns, anything else that you want to bring up or share? We
Yeah,
are,
this
yeah, go ahead, Father.
Yeah, Father Maceo. I guess I'm just wondering if we're trying to cover too much in the sense of maybe helping the festival committee a bit. It seems as though the sponsorship's a huge area of this. That is the money. And I don't know about you guys, but I get kind of stressed when I know we got a $22,000 budget and really no money. We got the 10,000, but still money does peak in terms of what artists we can bring in and how organized, et cetera. And I think there's potential out there in terms of getting it. I like to think there's some people that would help out. I just think we need to invest a little creative thinking behind it. So I'm willing to, maybe Liliana or anybody else that just wants to get together, and if the festival committee is open to it, and kind of brainstorm ideas, meet over here in person, maybe 3 or 4 of us come up with some concrete ideas as how we can get that money. That would be one. And same thing with entertainment. I mean, these are big areas, and I think we need to sit down with sort of subcommittees and really deal with these areas. So I just want to put myself out there for those 2 areas. And meeting here, my place is available pretty much every morning at 10 a.m. or in the afternoon, so keep that in mind. Just want to put that out there.
Right now, Father Mateo, the festival committee meets via Zoom on Tuesdays. Would you like me to add you to that list?
No, I have been going to the meetings. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Hi, Tom. This is Mireya here with the Little House by the Park. And yeah, I'd be really excited to also get an invite to those meetings. I've been joining these meetings and I'm kind of having a hard time figuring out where we fit best, but we want to be helpful. So please let us know what the community changers and I can do to help.
Just in case, could you pop your email into the chat box and I'll put you on that meeting list?
Of course. Thank you so much.
No worries. Anybody else? If there's nothing else, I think we'll meet again next week. Festival committee meets on Tuesdays. I'm not sure when the promotion committee meets. Or
tomorrow at 10 o'clock at my place.
Oh, okay, great. So tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, Father Mateo's place for the promotions committee.
Yeah, 960 Guadalupe Street.
960 Guadalupe Street. Okay, super.
Tom, it looked like Shirley had something to say, but I think is still muted.
Okay. Let me try something with that.
Hello.
Oh, you did it.
Hello. One thing I
Shirley,
want to bring up is if you're going to have a run down Guadalupe Street, how are the vendors going to be setting up in the parking lot with people running down the street?
Sounds like a good question for the festival committee.
And Charlie.
And Charlie. Anything else, Shirley? Anything from your promotions committee?
We're meeting with Father Maceo tomorrow and at 10 o'clock, and we will be picking up the promotional material. And I am working with the Sun to get an ad in the paper.
Super.
Now that we've got the ready images that we can send right to them.
Yeah, very true. Okay, thank you, everybody. See you next week.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.